Today we are going to be making a sweet and sour chicken kebab. So we're going to have a few different elements going on. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the preparation of the vegetables and the chicken first. Then we're going to build the kebabs. Whilst they're baking in the oven, we're then going to make a sauce to go with it. So we'll make the sweet and sour sauce, and then I'll show you how to present it all at the end. So to start with, I've got the ingredients on a tray, and what we're going to be using today is onion, 2 different colour peppers, and we've got the pineapple, obviously, for the sweet and sour element. So, start with the onion. I've cut it in half already from top to bottom. So we cut the onion like so. That holds the root on. The root then stops the onion from bleeding. That prevents you from crying. So we keep it like so, peel it, and then what we want today is big chunks of vegetables. So we're only going to cut into the onion 2 slices. I'm not putting them all the way through. I'm just cutting them into sections, and then I'm going to use claw grip and slice across in 2 pieces. That will then give us squares to go onto the kebabs. So we'll pile those into there. Peppers, going to cut through the centre of the pepper using bridge hold right the way through, and then we're going to pull the centre out. So we grab hold of the centre of the pepper, take the seeds out, and bang that into a container or the waste bin. Then again, we're going to put this into quite chunky, long strips. That'll be 4 different pieces so that they are this wide, and then we're going to create different squares of pepper so that we can pop them onto a kebab. I'm going to do that with both of the peppers, and then finally I've got the pineapple rings, so I'm going to cut these into different chunks again to go on the kebab sticks. I'm going to finish these vegetables and then we'll move on to the chicken. Now that the vegetables are all prepared, they're all in nice consistent shapes ready to go on the kebabs, I'm going to move on to the chicken. You'll notice I've changed chopping boards, so I've gone onto a red chopping board, which is red obviously to represent the raw meat and the element that's got the blood and the bacteria in it to prevent cross-contamination. So I'm going to try and cut the chicken now into quite similar pieces, try and get those into big chunky bite-sized pieces. Again, same kind of shape, same kind of size for consistency and to help with that cooking process so it cooks evenly. So with a chicken, a lot of people now use scissors. If not, you need a really sharp knife or one with a serrated edge. So I always do my chicken second when I've already prepared the vegetables, just to avoid that cross-contamination. So I'm going to cut all of my chicken into pieces like so, even pieces so that they can go onto the skewers with the vegetables. So once I've cut all these up, I'll come back to you and we will construct the kebab. Now that all the chicken has been prepared, we're going to build our kebabs. So one thing that I try to look at all the time is consistency, making sure that each product that you make is the same standard, same appearance, just helps with the quality of the food. So I've lined up my vegetables, so I've got my onion, a red pepper, then I've got the pineapple and then the green pepper. So you get a nice blend of colours with pieces of chicken slotted in between. It's good to start with a harder vegetable on the end so that it actually secures the kebab in place. All these kebabs have been soaked in water this afternoon, and that just means that they won't burn or set on fire when they are in the oven or under the grill. I'm going to be oven cooking mine this afternoon because time constraints. If you're under the grill, you're going to turn over, keep an eye on them, there's a risk of burning. Obviously I've got the sauce to make, so I'm going to be putting mine into the oven. So I've preheated the oven to 200 degrees. So I've got the onion, I'm going to add the chicken. Now, many people say, oh, you've done all this cross-contamination and now you are putting the chicken and the vegetables together. Well, they are all being cooked, so the bacteria will be killed off once it is cooked. So it is okay now that they're touching each other, but it is good to just have that habit of keeping things separately so that when you are preparing vegetables and meat and they aren't maybe going to be cooked, that you are reducing that risk of food poisoning. So I've done one now, and then I'm going to repeat my pattern so that you've got the repeated pattern and that consistency going all the way along. So I've done pineapple, and then another piece of chicken, and then finish with a green pepper. So that's my first kebab. I'm going to build a few more. I'll show you how to put them into the oven, and then we're going to make the sauce to complete the dish. Now that all the kebabs have been made, you'll be able to see there a little bit of the consistency coming through following with that, so all of the products look the same. I'm now going to pop them into the oven with my oven gloves. So the oven I've put onto 190 or gas mark 5. They're going to take about 20 minutes in the oven to cook. Best way to test it is always just take a piece of the chicken from one of the kebabs at the end and cut through to make sure it's white all the way through to the centre. So they're going to go in now. So now that the kebabs are in the oven, we're going to make the sweet and sour sauce. We're going to start with the corn flour. Now the corn flour, if you add it in its powdered state, will just float on the top of the sauce. The idea of the corn flour is that it thickens the sauce, so the flour gelatinizes with heat. So what will happen is you will, as it heats up, it will start to swell, it will take on the water, and that will thicken the sauce. That process is called gelatinization. But what we need to do is make this into a paste first of all. So we've got 100 millilitres of water. Of that we need approximately a tablespoon into the corn flour. We've got 2 tablespoons of corn flour here, and we're going to stir it. Ooh. What we want to do is get this paste. You might need a tiny bit more, just so that it goes into a very stiff paste. You don't want it to be watery at all. It's a very bizarre product that looks really, really runny, but then when you're trying to stir it, it's got a very thick texture to it. So I've got it now, and it's quite clumpy sauce. So that is going to go into the pan. I've preheated the hob to number 4. I'm having it on the front because obviously I'm working with the sauce. And with the corn flour, I'm going to add the corn flour in, and that's going to be the main thickening agent in the sauce. I've got 50 millilitres of the pineapple juice. I've got the water, which I'm going to add in as well. And then we've got a few key ingredients that are going to add flavour. We've got sugar, which I will add in a second. And then we've got tablespoon, vinegar and soy sauce. Soy sauce, we just need a tablespoon of that. And this is one of the ingredients, reason why we don't put salt into it, because soy sauce is very high salt content, so there's no additional seasoning needed. So that's 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. You can use normal vinegar, ideally white wine vinegar works best. So it's 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar, and that adds the sour element to the sweet and sour sauce. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of that. 2 tablespoons of the ketchup. Adding that in. Again, that adds a little bit of the sweet element with the sugar and the pineapple juice as well to get that nice balance between the ingredients. Now add in the sugar, and then I've got some pineapples that are left over from the kebabs. Obviously there has been a little bit of cross-contamination with these, so we're going to add these in, but only when the sauce is really hot to kill off any of that bacteria, but it will just add a bit of texture to the sauce rather than wasting the food. Now, as that heat starts to come through in the sauce, that corn flour will thicken, it will gelatinise, it will swell, it will burst as it takes on the liquid with the heat, and that's what will give us the really thick sauce. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stand here for a couple of minutes, keep stirring it because the heat's from the bottom, so we want to make sure that you are moving that spoon all the way around the pan at all times so that you don't get a lumpy sauce if you've missed a little bit when you're stirring. So I'll stand here for a couple of minutes now, watch this thicken, and then I'll come back to you when the sauce is ready. The kebabs are now ready to come out, so I'm going to take those out of the oven just to show you. These have been cooking for 20 minutes. You can see the nice golden colour now where the caramelisation has occurred on the vegetables. The chicken is completely cooked. So to present, what I've done is I've just done some rice. What I've created here, I've used a ramekin just to do a little bit of a rice castle, a bit like a sandcastle. Pop it down, all I've done is oiled inside, and then we lift it off like a sandcastle would be. And that's just a really nice way to present your food. You can then grab any sort of garnish. If you've got any herbs in the garden, just pop a couple on the top just to bring that green through. We're going to select a couple of the kebabs, pop them onto here, and you will now see that the gelatinisation has occurred. All those starch molecules from the corn flour have thickened, they've absorbed the liquid, they have started to swell and they have burst, and that is now really, really thick sauce. So all I'm going to do, using a slightly deeper spoon, is I'm going to get some of the sauce and just literally drizzle it across the kebab so that the kebab is coated in the sauce. We've got nice extra pieces of pineapple on there, and that is the sweet and sour chicken kebabs with rice complete. Ingredients will be on the below the video for you.